We're here at Scholastic for the Lollies, and we're very lucky to have some children to ask us some questions. I don't know what the questions are. Are we all right, judges? Are we okay for taking these questions? You're a bit nervous?
I could do with a lawyer present.
A lawyer, okay. All right, you okay? You're looking a bit worried about it?
I'm terrified.
You're terrified?
Absolutely terrified.
And you're their teacher, I guess?
I am, that's why I'm terrified.
Right. Well, you better behave yourself, sunshine.
Very, very
Yeah, okay, right. We're ready. So, well, shall we start on the front? Would you like to start?
What do you think makes a funny book?
Well, if I were to ask my children, they would say anything involving bottoms,
Parts,
hilarious, very funny. So I think bottoms is a good starting point.
I'm a huge fan of funny voices, so maybe characters speaking in funny ways to each other. Interesting conversations, I would say.
Farts always make people laugh, don't they? Definitely. And I think just funny characters that remind you of someone, like if the mum or the dad is written a bit like your mum or dad, if they're a believable character and they're funny like someone you know.
And I like to see lots and lots of really funny pictures because that really grabs my imagination.
When you were younger, what was your favourite funny book?
For me, there's a book called Down with School, and it was all about a boy called Molesworth. And my brother used to read it to me and do all the funny voices, just like you were saying, funny voices. So he used to read it to me in our bedroom. We shared a bedroom, so it was like a kind of, almost like theatre, because he used to act it all out.
Mine was the Twits, which I'm sure you all know.
Yeah.
I loved the way that they were so horrible to each other, especially when they were like chopping off the end of their walking sticks to make them think that they were shorter.
Yeah, I was going to say Roald Dahl as well. The Twits is definitely up there. And probably Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as well, because that's full of very, very funny characters as well.
Even as a kid, I've always really liked poetry. So for me, I really liked Spike Milligan. So I had lots and lots of Spike Milligan poems.
On the Ning Nang Nong, where the cows go bong. Yeah.
Classics.
I read a lot of Roald Dahl books as well, but I also had a few poetry collections that had funny titles involving knickers and gargling with jelly and things. So
Brian Patton.
we'd always
Knickers
swap
are
those
also
around between my friends and I. So yeah.
Have you read any weird books in your life?
Read them or written them?
Written.
Written, right. Let's start up again there. Have you written a weird book?
I don't tend to write a lot of books. I've read a lot of weird books, and I've read a lot of weird stories that other people have written and children in my class have written. I haven't written one myself, no.
I'm writing a few at the moment, just for fun, just for pleasure. But I've got one which is this character which is a sloth, and it really loves poppadoms, but only if they're really out of date. So lots of different things happen, and then a sloth just runs around collecting these poppadoms.
I have written a book, but my book is an advice book, so I don't think it's weird. But then that's a matter of opinion, isn't it? Maybe you will think it's a bit weird. So no, I haven't written a weird book, I don't think.
I've not written one, but I've read my daughter's really weird story. She's about your age, and every day she writes really, really strange stories, so I really enjoy that.
She likes them or writes them?
Writes them.
Oh, herself? Oh, right, yeah. The weirdest perhaps is one called Uncle Gob and the Green Heads. That's pretty weird. And the one before it was called Uncle Gob and the Dread Shed. And they're just about as weird as I can get. So, yeah, weird we do. Yes, yes indeed.
Do you think a funny book needs pictures?
Does it need pictures? Shall I start with this one? It doesn't have to have pictures, but pictures are a great help. And there's wonderful comic artists around now doing lovely cartoons and drawings, colour and single line, with no colour. So it doesn't need them, but it's great when they have them.
I really like pictures because I've already said that in the answer to the other question, but I think that we need to think about how great illustrators are as well as authors in these books, so I think it's a really good question that you've asked.
Again, I don't think it needs to have it, but it's what you're into, I suppose. I'm probably more of a words person than a picture person, but some books are very, very funny because of the pictures, and then some books are very, very funny because of the words. It depends what you like.
I don't think they need pictures. I like pictures, and I like that books aimed at slightly older readers are having more illustrations in them too. So I think sometimes as the books get bigger and the intended audience is older, you kind of lose the illustrations, and I think that's really sad.
And I would agree, I think it doesn't need them, but I think they always help and very enjoyable to look at when you're trying to picture the story for yourself as well.
When you were younger, what was your favourite book?
I really liked a book that was called Sophie's World by Justine Garda, and it was a really interesting book all about philosophy and about the world.
I had one that my mum actually found in her loft the other day. It's a little picture book called Mrs. Pig's Bulk Buy, and it's about a mummy pig whose piglets are demanding ketchup all day, every day. She gets so sick of it, she feeds them nothing but ketchup to see if she can change their mind.
My favourite book is behind you on the wall there. Charlotte's Web was my favourite book growing up. And then I've reread it as a grown-up, and that's just even further cemented that that's my favourite book.
Mine is not very funny at all. It was actually really scary, which is why I liked it. It's The Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper, which is a really dark, mysterious, magical sequence of 5 books, and my favourite one of those is the second one. But you should read those when you're a bit older.
For me, it was a book called Emil and the Detectives.
Oh, yes.
And it's all about a boy who has to go to the big city with some money in his pocket. And he's been told to look after the money. And then he gets onto the train and he falls asleep and the money gets nicked. And he realises it's the man in the corner of the carriage who's done it. And he sees him get off at the station before the one he's supposed to get off at. And he doesn't know whether to carry on or to follow the man at the station before. And I'm not going to tell you any more. And it's an amazing book. And it's by a German guy called Erich Kästner.
Why do you think funny books are important?
I think they're important because not everybody wants to read a book that's really dramatic or a book that's really sad. Sometimes people think that they don't like books, but I think funny books are a way of getting people who don't think they like reading into reading books, because everybody likes to laugh. I think that's something that we all want to do, and it makes us feel good. It's easier to laugh at something on the TV maybe, but it can be quite hard to laugh at a book, to laugh out loud at a book anyway. So I think if a book can do that, then it's obviously very, very good.
Everybody likes to laugh, not everyone likes to be scared, so I think they're really, really important at getting kids to read, so that's why I like them.
I think one of the things about having funny books is it's just lovely to have a nice time. And the great thing about funny books is quite often you want to share them. So you want to read them to other people. There's a really good bit here, and you share it. Now, the moment you share things become even more enjoyable. And you like people that you share funny things with. People like your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, cousins, or whatever. And so that's quite nice because it means that you're sharing things and having a good time.
Funny books are really important because they can really entertain you and they're really interesting. But what a lot of creators of funny books can do is they can engage you and they can get you really thinking about quite deep things as well at the same time as they are entertaining you. So often it can be a really good way to give strong, important messages through humour. That's why I like them.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I like the way that you can be laughing but at the same time dealing with quite tricky situations and events, but in a kind of a non-threatening way. And everybody loves to laugh.
Exactly. I agree.
What's your favourite genre of a book and why?
I think for me, I'll have to say it's poetry because I write it and read it. So for me, it's poems.
Mine are detective novels, so mysteries.
Maybe funny books. Maybe funny books. I had to choose one genre, or again something with a mystery or a thriller.
Mine's changed as I've kind of aged, from kind of funny books, scary books, something a bit of magic, just a real mixture.
Maybe non-fiction, like humorous essays like David Sedaris, sort of interesting memoirs and things like that.
What is your favourite joke in a book?
One of mine I do quite like is what's brown and sticky?
Light.
Stick.
Light.
A stick, that's right. Absolutely right.
What do you call an intruding ravioli?
An impasto.
Yeah.
What's yellow and dangerous?
The sun. Lightning.
That's
yes,
good.
Yeah.
That's not the punchline I'm looking for. The punchline is shark-infested custard.
Yeah.
What does a house wear?
A dress.
A dress.
How do you make an octopus laugh?
Pull its 8 legs.
No. You give it tentacles.
Oh, lovely. I've got to say that one carefully. Yeah, lovely. That's to behave yourself. Yeah, lovely.
Where does a cow go for entertainment?
Um,
Movies.
I was going to say the